Welcome to lesson 4 of the Absolute Beginners course. What we've had a look at and done up until now are various sort of aspects about playing the guitar. We've dealt with our left hand, our right hand, we've started putting them together, we've learned strumming and counting, we've learned chord diagrams, tabs and picking, and we've done quite a bit. We've ended off on lesson 3 with 2 practice songs. What we're going to look at now is a little bit for your technical ability. We're going to try and bring that up a little bit. So we're going to do mainly exercises today. We're going to take a look at something called scales, and then we're going to do some exercises for our right hand as well, which is strumming and counting. Alright, so let's get straight to it. Counting and strumming. What we're going to take a look at in this lesson is a sort of continuation on what we've learned already. We've learned how to count to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've learned how to strum along to that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this diagram. Okay, on this diagram we've got 4 exercises. In each exercise they show you 4 counts, and then there are little down arrows and some up arrows within those counts. So we're going to take a look at the first exercise. And what they're asking us to do in that first exercise is they're asking us to play the first count and then let the rest of it ring out and sound. So it's going to look and sound like that, this first exercise. We hold an E minor. We're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just going to let those other counts ring out. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. As easy as that. That is our first exercise. You're playing a chord and you're counting it out. Now in the second exercise, they're asking us to play on the first count and they're asking us to play on the second count. It's a little down arrow. So the down arrow is strum down. So we're going to hold our E minor and we're going to play the first count. 1, 2, and then we just think out the 2. Then we play 3 again, 3, and then 4 we let ring. So that's going to look and sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy as that. So the first 2 exercises, we're going to put those together now. So we play the first one, move straight onto the next one. And that's going to look and sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Now we're going to move on to our third exercise, and in the third exercise we've already done that. It's just counting out 1, 2, 3, 4 and strumming along at the same time. So with your E minor, let's do that. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once we've done that, we're going to put all 3 of those together. So we're going to play the first exercise, then the second, and then the third. And then we'll repeat it a couple times. So holding your E minor, first exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, Now we're going to play our last one, and this is where we're going to need to practice a bit because we haven't done that before. You'll notice there is 4 counts as per usual. 1, 2, 3, 4, all with the down arrow. So we're going to strum every count. But in between each one of those counts, there's an up strum. So what we need to do is, once we've done 1, we need to go back up with our thumb, like that. What this is we're cutting those seconds into half seconds, half a second. So 1 and, it's got a little and above it. You're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you're going half a second for each one basically, but you're going to just focus on counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The and is quite subtle at the moment. So down with your fingers for 1, back up the strings with your thumb, just gently like that, just flick it up against the strings for the and. So it's going to look like this. 1 and, 1 and, 1 and. Then we go straight to 2, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. And that's all we have to do. So now we need to practice that a little bit. We're going to play the 4th exercise a number of times in a row, and you're going to slowly catch on with me and play with me. If you get lost, just go back to the E minor and wait for the first count, and then we'll carry on together. So with the rocking of your hand, down, up, down, up, down, up, as we count through. Down is your count, and up is your and. It's going to look like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Alright, so stop the video and practice that. Practice on your own. Practice going through each exercise individually, and then you're going to do what we're going to do next, which is add them all together. So we're going to play the first exercise, second, third and fourth, one after each other, and we're going to keep repeating that process. And it's going to look and sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that is basically some more counting and some more strumming. And we're going to take a look in this lesson and how that sort of incorporates into our playing, into our chords. Basic chord changes. We're going to look at something called chord changes. We are doing chord changes, we're changing between chords, but what goes on a lot in playing the guitar is in between those chords. So when we're changing from an E to an A, we're doing a chord change. But there's a lot that goes on in between that. I'll give you an example. What we're going to do is we're going to use what we've just learned. We're going to use that extra strumming pattern we've learned, the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're now going to be using that for in between our chord changes. So we're going to use the chord E minor and we're going to use the chord A2 because they look similar and they're easy to move to and from. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Then as we relax our hand and we lift it up and we're moving over to our A, we're going to play the up. The and, sorry. So it's going to go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go down to our A. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Take your fingers away, and so your thumb comes up, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and up. As your hand's going up, you bring the and. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what we're going. That's very slow. That's what we're going to be doing. 4 counts, and then as we're changing to our next chord, we play the end. So what we need to do is we need to get used to that. I'm going to strum up here a little bit higher so that you can see the whole thing together. 1, 2, 3, 4. As we're changing chords to our A, so as we lift up, we strum up with our thumb, then our fingers go down, and we strum our next counts, our 1, 2, 3, 4. Hand comes up, strum up, back to the E, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we need to just make sure that we're doing that nice and properly and we're doing it well. So what you need to do is you need to practice doing this without the strumming. You're just going to count it out and think it out. So E minor to A, E minor to A, those are our 2 chord changes, and we're going to be using the and that we learned in our strumming pattern for the in between the chord change. So count along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm lifting my fingers quite high just so that you can see the chord change. With time, you're just going to be doing it so subtly that it's just going to look like that. As your fingers come away from the guitar, you play the and then they go down. As your fingers go up, you play the and they go down. So eventually you're just going to be doing it like that. But for now, I'm just showing you by moving my fingers away. Don't particularly want you to move your fingers so far away. It's not economical. It's not a good thing to do. You want to move your hand when you're playing the guitar as little as possible, as little as needed, so that you can play economically. So we're going to go count that over again, and then we're going to strum it. Starting with your E. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, up, 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 1, 2, 3, 4. So stop the video and practice doing that. Counting to 4, and then you can count the word and, or you can use the word up. It makes you realize that you've got to go up and to your next chord. Up and to your next chord. Up and to your next chord. Alright, so what we're going to do now is once you've practiced that on your own and you've managed to get comfortable with that, you're going to try and play along with me whilst we do that. And I'm going to play over here so that you can kind of see the hands close together and how they work together like that. Because as your hand comes up, this hand comes up. So it's down, 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 down. They both go up. This goes up in the air and this goes up with your thumb. Up and then down. So let's do that slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so once you've practiced it on your own and you've gotten more comfortable with that and you've practiced along with me, you just keep going until you can kind of play along. If you feel like that's a little bit tricky and I don't quite know what's going on, then just go over it slowly and without any strumming. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Also practice 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. And you can just hold your strings whilst you do that. The minute you have to do and, you can let your strings go and touch back down. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1, etc., etc. So just practice that. Remember, you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. You've got to make sure that you're counting along with that clock. That extra little half count is just getting slipped in. So make sure you're counting and you're playing all of your notes without changing the speed or anything like that. Practice it over and over, and that is a very basic chord change. We're going to take a look at some more in the term, and we're going to do some more complicated stuff until we can start playing really sort of fancier stuff. What we can also do now is we can do some basic chord changes for the G and the C. So you can practice exactly the same thing we were doing. You practice going 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just practice moving between the G and the C. So it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, once you've done that, so you practice the E, and you practice that a whole bunch of times, the E and the A, then you practice the G and the C a whole bunch of times, you practice them individually, and then you can practice moving from E to 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 to your G, 3, 4, and 1, and then your C, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and you just start mixing your chords up, E, A, then you practice your G, your C, then you practice E, A, G, C, and then you can start doing it in your practice song, the one with the chords. When it comes to changing chords, do the and throw that in every time you change a chord. But for now, that is a basic chord change. Finger exercises. What we're going to look at now are just some exercises for our fingers, and it's for our left hand fingers. What we want to do is we want to get our hands a little bit stronger, and we want them to be able to stretch a little bit so that you can start playing on the guitar comfortably, and your hand gets stronger and things become a lot easier. So we have exercises. Most people get very bored with these exercises and they give up on them quite quickly. I wouldn't encourage that. I think just stick at it and get through them, practice them until they're dead simple. We're going to be looking at 3 exercises, and these are them. Okay, so what you've got is you've got 3 sets of tabs, and then you've got little diagrams underneath. The little diagrams are kind of like chord diagrams turned on their side. So they're kind of a tab / diagram, which I'll go over in a minute. So, first thing we're going to notice are in the tabs, there are no bars. We're just ignoring the bars for now. We don't need any bars, just an exercise. It's called playing freely. So certain songs will have no bars and things like that. That means you play freely, you play it how you want. So we're going to play this quite freely. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the very first tab, the very first one at the top. That's our first exercise. Now you've got numbers running all along. What those numbers are telling you, as we've learned in tabs, is the numbers are telling you which fret to play at. And you read it from left to right. So we start on the lowest string, and that lowest string is our thickest string. So the very first note we have to play is a 0. It's asking us to play just that open thick string. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to get our fingers ready. The number 1s is the first box here, and you're going to use your first finger. The number 2s are in your 2nd fret, so we use this finger, the 2nd finger. 3s in the 3rd fret, and 4s in the 4th fret with our pinky. So pinky, ring, middle, and index. Those are the fingers that are going to take those frets. So we play our open, and you can do this just with your thumb for now on this side. So the first note is open. Then we have to play the 1st fret. So we go on to the 1st fret like that, and we play it. Then the next number is a 2. It's the 2nd fret. So we use our 2nd finger to play that. And then they're asking us to play 3, which is the 3rd fret with our 3rd finger. And then they're asking us to play 4 with our pinky. Right, and that's quite difficult as it is already. So what we're going to do is we're just going to practice that over and over. They want us to play 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 on your thickest string, and using the appropriate fingers. So it's going to look and sound like this. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you can just use your thumb behind the guitar to push nice and tight. When you're first practicing this, most of the notes you play, they're just going to be messed up, and they're going to be fret buzz and muted notes and all that. Again, you just ignore that and you play through it. Alright, so the first line, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 0, 1, 2, practice doing that over and over and over and over. The next thing they want you to do is, so if you haven't got that right now, don't worry about it. If you need more time, stop the video and go over it again. And then what they want you to do is they want you to do exactly the same thing for each string. So you notice in the tab it goes 0 to 4, then it goes on to the next string and plays 0 to 4, next string 0 to 4, all the way through all of your strings. So now we take our thumb and we move down onto the next string. And we play on this string now exactly the same thing. First it's open, no fingers. Then first fret with our first finger. Second fret with our second finger. Third and fourth. Now you don't have to be able to play like this with all your fingers on here. It's quite a stretch in the beginning. So you're playing first, then you can just use your second, then just your third, and then your fourth. The fourth is going to feel like you're pushing incredibly tight and it's not making much of a noise. That very quickly will strengthen up. So within the sort of week of practicing this exercise, your hands will get a lot stronger and a lot better. And so then we just practice doing that through all of the strings. I'm going to do each string one at a time. And each time your thumb for now can just go down and you can just pick it with your thumb. Each note with your thumb. So here it goes, the whole exercise. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next string. So next string here and next string here. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you go down to your next string on this side and your next string on this side. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then, next string, your third thinnest. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Second thinnest on this side, second thinnest on this side. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And your last string, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you've played the whole thing. So basically, you're playing string by string, starting in your toppest, your thickest, and you're playing through the first 4 frets. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're just moving down a string and you're going all the way down. Once you've learned that, and you can practice it, you can do the whole way through like this. Once you can play it fairly smoothly and fast, it's going to take a while, so give it lots of practice. Then you can just do the whole thing in reverse. You start on your thinnest string, and you work your way back. So the whole thing backwards and forwards. That's your goal. You want to be able to do that in about a week's time. It doesn't even have to be as quick as that. You can get much faster, that's great, or you can just kind of play it. So you need to stop the video and you need to go through that very slowly because it's going to take you a while to do that. And you just practice it over and over and over and over. And that is the first line of our exercises. Now, the next set of exercises is very similar, except that what they want us to do is 0, 1, 2, and 4. So 0, 1, 2, skip 3, and 4. Let's do that again. 0, 1, 2, skip 3, and 4. Again, they want us to do that for all of the strings. So I'm going to show you that very slowly through all of the strings. 0, 1, 2, 4, 0, 1, 2, 4, 0, 1, 2, 4, 0, 1, 2, 4, 0, 1, 2, 4, 0, 1, 2, and 4. So we're skipping out that ring finger. We're not playing anything in there. We're playing 0, 1, 2, skipping this finger and using that finger for all of the strings. So again, you just go down, you start on your thickest and you go all the way through and you're playing without your ring finger. Again, stop the video and practice that on its own until you can go all the way down, and then once you're very comfortable with that, go all the way back. So start on your thinnest at the highest point and you work your way back. Here we're working forward and we work all the way down, and then we go in reverse. We start at the highest part, then we start at the highest part, highest part, etc., etc. And then finally on to our third exercise. Very much the same. You're just practicing basically moving your fingers up and down on the strings, except now they want us to play 0, 1, 3, 4. So 0 is open, 1, skip the second finger, third finger, and fourth. 0, 1, 3, and 4. If I'm going too fast, you need to stop the video and you need to just go and practice very slowly on your own. You'll find that after half an hour of practicing that, you get a lot better at it. So nice and slowly, the last exercise, 0, 1, first fret, skipping the second, third, and fourth. And then you do that for all of the strings. And then backwards, starting high and going low. Alright, so that's a lot of information at once, and it's a lot to do technically. So focus on the first exercise, stop the video and practice it. Then come back, do the second exercise, stop the video and practice it. And the same for the third. You're going to go over those separate exercises over and over and over and over. The first exercise uses all 4 fingers and you're playing zeros. You always start with a 0 and then you're playing all 4 fingers like that. The second exercise, you're doing exactly the same, but you're not playing with the third finger. I'm just going to move it out the way. So you're playing 0, 1, 2, 3. And you do that for all of your strings. Then the third exercise, 0, 1, 3, 4. I'm going to move that out the way. So you're playing open, first frets, third frets, and fourth. All the way. It's 3 exercises, not that tricky. It's a bit overwhelming at first to try and, get a hang of it and get used to it. So do it slowly. You've got 3 shapes that you need to practice on each string. And you just do one note after the next. You follow along the tab. You start from left and you go right. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next string, all the way through all of your strings. Then the second exercise, 0, 1, 2, 4. And then the last one, 0, 1, 3, 4 on your thickest string. then your next string, then your next string, then your next, all the way through. So you're just going to read that tab slowly. Now, the little chord diagrams at the bottom, the ones that look like they're on their side, they're not the right way around, those are showing you the shapes. So you'll notice on the diagram, you've got the headstock, you've got the neck nut, the strings running across, like in your tab, the thickest one at the bottom, and your frets. Now, the see-through dot, so you just have a look at the one on the left here. The see-through dot, that is an open string. Then you've got your neck nut running along. Then you've got a dot on your first fret, a dot on your second fret, a dot on your third, and a dot on your fourth. That is a picture of that. And what it's doing is it's showing you the shape. So then you know you're playing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you know you've got to do it for all of the strings. The second little diagram is the second exercise. That is showing you our second shape. It's got a 0, a see-through 0 for open string. Then it's got a coloured in dot for 1, a dot for 2. Then you'll notice it's skipping a fret, it's skipping the third fret, and there is a dot for that. Fourth. So then you know you're playing 0, 1, 2, skipping 3, and 4. And you've got that second shape. And then the last one is showing you the open string, the 0, then your neck nut, then the first fret, you're skipping the second, third fret, and fourth fret. So that is showing you the shapes. Then you just play note by note each one, and you work your way down all the way through the strings. So make sure you practice nice and hard, and make sure you give it a lot of time. And you can aim to get fluent, and you can speed it up, and you can play it backwards and forwards, and you can do all 3 exercises. And that is basically your first finger exercise. Minor scale. We are going to take a look now at something called a minor scale, and it's in the open position, which means we're doing it down here. So we're not going up here, we're not doing anything fancy over here, we're doing everything in the open position, that's down here. Alright, first thing, we get a diagram to look at. You'll see at the top it says minor scale, open position. Then you've got a tab, and then you've got a diagram at the bottom. We're going to go through that slowly. We're going to start with the tab. Alright, and as a tab is, you read it from left to right. It's got its bars. Each bar has its 4 counts, and there are numbers in the tab now. You'll notice that it's on the 3 thinnest strings. That's all we're going to be dealing with today, these 3 strings here. And it has not just your standard numbers that we've been dealing with, it's got a few more. It's got 3s and 5s and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to tackle it very slowly, and we're going to make sure we do it nice and slow. Basically, without getting into too much detail, we need to learn scales to keep our notes structured so that we don't play random stuff. I'm sure by now you've tried playing made up stuff on the guitar and it doesn't sound good. That's why we learn scales and we learn keys. It's to keep everything nice and structured. We'll go into that further in the term, perhaps next term, and we'll deal with keys and scales and things like that, confusing stuff like that, much later on. For now, all we want to do is learn a shape and a scale. And we're going to be picking this. It's going to sort of go from a low note to a high note. And then it's going to go from a high note back down to a low note. So you're playing certain notes within an octave. Octave is also something we'll deal with later. For now, we're going to be playing a tab, and it's going to show us where to put our fingers, and we're going to memorize that with time. So you give it a couple of weeks, you'll have memorized this. Alright, so looking at the tab, We know that we're on the third thinnest string, and it's asking us to play in the second fret, the second box. If you're going back to your exercise, which you need to practice a hang of a lot before you try the scale, you need to develop a bit of strength and a bit of dexterity, and you need to be able to get these fingers stretching nicely. So make sure you've practiced that a hang of a lot before you try this. On your the very first note, the one we're going to read left to right, we're going to go through those bars. The first note is on your your third thinnest string, and it's at your second fret. So remember, first bar, second bar, we're going to use this finger. That's our note there, you can find that. And all we're going to do is on this side, we're just going to play that note. We can use our thumb for now. We're just going to use our thumb the whole way through. So on this side, you're just going to use your thumb. So, third string, second fret, with our middle finger, we hold it nice and tight and we play that note. Good. Once we've done that, we move straight to the next note in the tab, and the next note is your second thinnest string, and it's an open. Then the next one is the same string, it's the second thinnest, the B string, at the first fret. So you find that, and then you make sure you're on the right string and you play it. Then the last note in that bar, we're going to go up to the third fret on your second thinnest string, and we play that note. And we've played the first sort of half of our scale. Let's do it again. Third thinnest, second fret, we play it. Then we go on to our second thinnest string, open, and we play it. Then we go up to our first fret on that same string, and we play it. And then same string, third fret, we play that. Good, next bar. Thinnest string, open. Thinnest string, first fret. Thinnest string, third fret. Now, to get to that next note, the 5, we just shift up one again. Hold nice and tight and play that note. Let's do that second bar again. Open on your thinnest, first fret on your thinnest, third fret on your thinnest, and up to the 5th fret. And you've basically played your first scale. We are going to play that, practice those 2 bars individually, and then put them together. So stop the video and practice that. Once you've done that, we put them together, those 2 bars. It's going to look like this. Third thinnest, second fret. Play that. Then onto our next string, open. Same string, first fret. Same string, third fret. And then we go on to our thinnest. Then the same string, first fret. Then we go on to our third. And then we shift up to our 5th. And I'm going to play that twice for you without any pauses or breaks so that you can see what it's and hear what it sounds like. We also make sure you count along with the clock. Each note that you play is a second on the clock. Alright, so stop the video and practice that. Practice that as much as you can. You need to give it a good 20 minutes of just solid practice. Then once you finish practicing, rejoin the video. And what we've got to do now is we do the second tab, and that is exactly the same thing, just in reverse. So where we left off is where we start. So on your thinnest string, you go up to the 5th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you hold that note. Then we play the 5th fret, then we slide back down to the 3rd, and then we play the 1st, and then open. All on the thin string. Then the last bar, we're going on to the 2nd thinnest string, the 3rd fret, then same string, 1st fret, same string, open, and then on the 3rd string at the 2nd fret. And then we've just played our scale backwards. So practice that. Now you get the opportunity to stop the video and practice it backwards. I'm going to play it twice in a row for you, just so that you can get an idea and you can know what you're sort of striving and aiming towards. 5th fret, that's where we start. 3rd, 1st, open. Next string, 3rd, 1st, open. 2nd fret on your 3rd string. Back up to 5. Good. Once you've done that, once you've practiced it going up to your high string and you've practiced going from your high string down to your low note, then you're going to put them together, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So stop the video and practice going forwards and backwards, and then rejoin back on here. Okay, and that is what your minor scale in the open position is going to look and sound like. That doesn't take 20 minutes. That takes a lot of practice. That'll take a good couple of days of putting in some serious time. So don't rush through it, go through it very slowly and just practice it section by section. Just practice reading the tab. Refer to your notes. I'm going to detail that quite a lot. So read your notes, watch the video, keep pausing the video and actually practice the little sections by little sections, and then just do that over and over and over. You're not going to get it the first time you watch the video. It's going to take you a few times. If you do, that's great. Then you're doing very, very well. Otherwise, just watch the video over and over and over. You can even just sit and watch me play the scale at the end there, backwards and forwards a number of times, just to get used to it. Then you practice along with your guitar and all that sort of stuff. Alright, and the chord diagram at the bottom, that is showing you all of those notes dotted out on the guitar. So it's a picture of your guitar lying sideways, like your tab, bird's eye view. It's telling you not playing this string, not this string, not this string. You look at it, it's showing you you're playing on here, but it's playing all those individual notes. It's just putting a dot on the guitar at those particular spots so that you can see where those notes are. That is a shape. You don't play all of those notes at once, you can't. You play them one after another. It's basically detailing out the tab we've done. We look at those further on in the term and we look at how to use them a bit better. But for now, it'll show you where your fingers go sort of all at once. So you can also read it got the second fret, then your thinnest string, it's showing you there, there, and there. And then on your thinnest string, it's showing you there, 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 and there. It's just showing you where your fingers will be played. Alright, and that is basically your minor scale in the open position. And there we have it. That was our 4th lesson in the first term. What we are looking at doing this week is bringing our technical level up. So we're focusing on the kind of aspects we've done already, the picking and the strumming, and we are learning a scale, and we're doing all of that stuff to make our level go up so we can play a little bit better and we can learn new stuff. So give this week a good practice. You need to spend a lot of time on it. Practice the exercises and the scales and the extra counts, and do a lot of that. You might want to feel like you want to rush through it. Don't rush through it. Take your time. You really need a lot of time for this. You're not supposed to be able to get this in a week. This is something you keep practicing. It's going to make you play better, and by the end of the term your all-round playing will be a bit better. There is one more lesson later in the term kind of like this, which is also going to boost our technical level. So spend a lot of time on this week's lesson, and don't skip and don't try and rush through and start playing songs and things like that yet. Give this a lot of time. So thank you for watching the lesson, and if you need to contact us or anything like that, you can find us on Facebook, The Sound of Art Cape Town. You can leave your posts and queries and comments, and we'll get back to you on that sort of stuff. Hope you enjoyed the lesson, and we'll see you in lesson 5.